Warm welcome and welcome to the Buddhist Mahavira's Dhammadana series here at the Facebook live page of the Buddhist Mahavira's Facebook pages. We have to apologize for this evening's delay because our Bhante in Sri Lanka was having some technical difficulties with the internet and also the PC that he's having. But we have managed to resolve the problem and now we are going live. I would like to invite this evening's speaker. But even before that, actually, we will have to apologize because this evening's Dhamma sharing was supposed to have been done by Bhante Piyaratana from Scotland. But Bhante, as I told you the last time, is a PhD student, and he has now been given some urgent assignments to finish, and he was unable to join us this evening. But as his replacement, we have Bhante Pusala Vineetha from Sri Lanka to talk about the same sutta. I would now like to invite Bhante Vineetha to join us in the studio. Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening, Ayan.
So yes, so Bhante, we will since it's already a delay and we've already read your profile previously. Let's not waste much time, and because this sutta, as Bhante is saying, is actually quite a long sutta, and Bhante will need a lot of time to explain the sutta. So without much ado, I would now like to invite Bhante to start this evening's Dhamma sharing. Bhante, please.
Good evening, all brothers and sisters in Dhamma. Let's recite Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa in order to pay our respect to the Triple Gem. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Brothers and sisters in Dhamma, again, I would like to wish you all very good evening, and also for our Chinese brothers and sisters, I would like to wish Happy Chinese New Year, Tonsi Pa Chai. Wishing in that way, I am so happy to start today Dhamma discussion or the talk on behalf of Venerable Bhante Piyaratana. I was invited to deliver this talk, especially discuss the matters in the discourse of silent sage. It's called Muni Sutta. It's called Muni Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya. Samyutta Nikaya, the chapter of the serpents. We call Uraga Vagga. We can see this discourse named as Muni Sutta. The term Muni is very important because it has a great meaning according to the teachings of the Buddha. The Buddha always appreciated the best qualities of the monks, the best qualities of the followers. He has appreciated those who follow his instructions in the very best way in order to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. This is somehow a discourse that he has appreciated the qualities of the monks. You know, in English, you have different types of words to introduce the monks, especially for the monks you say in Buddha's language Bhante, and also monk you say venerable, venerables, reverend, reverences, and also apart from those words we see some other words. Someone can say a holy man, a holy man. Someone can say a sage. There are some other words. Mendicant is another term to introduce the monks, and also ascetic. All these words whatsoever introduce the same person. You know, there are four types of the disciples of the Buddha: bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasaka, and upasika. Bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, upasaka, and upasika. Bhikkhu means the male ordained followers of the Buddha. We can say monks. Bhikkhuni means the female ordained followers of the Buddha. Bhikkhuni, nun are some words which are familiar among us. Then upasaka, the male followers of the Buddha. Upasika, female lay followers of the Buddha. In this way, we can categorize into four types the followers of the Buddha. The term Muni is taken to introduce the male ordained followers of the Buddha, that means the monks who left the household life. They have said goodbye to their lay life and they got ordained as a monk and live a life of a monk. Therefore, we say them ascetics, mendicants, holy men, the sage. The sage. Actually, this concept is coming from India. The term Muni is used to introduce the sage who has taken the vow of silence, who has been silenced. more fully, one who has understood the nature of the silence that lies beyond all words. In that way, we can define the meaning of the uh, term Muni. Actually, it is because of their behavior, their thinking styles, and also the attitudinal changes in their life. The Muni is a term from Sanskrit language. The Muni, the word denotes the meaning of silent, being silent or silence. And also in ancient India, it has been used to introduce the sages or hermits or ancient Indian ascetics. When we introduce someone in this term, when we look at someone as a Muni, the sages or the people of this type are said to know, they are expected to know the truth of existence. They are expected to know the truth of existence in this life, and also they should not be based on the scientific text, but they should know the truth of the life through their self-realization. They should know the truth through their self-realization in their life. It has been a concept in the ancient India throughout for a long period, and also the Buddhism, also the term Muni is used to introduce the Buddha, Gautama Buddha. It's a term for the Buddha as well. And also, because of that, as the Buddha's tribes comes from Sakyas, he is called Sakya Muni as well, sage of the Sakyas, because he belongs to that tribe. Because of that, he is called Sakya Muni. Now I think these evidences indicate or introduce you all the meaning of the term Muni, that is called ascetics, monks, or mendicants. Actually, this term is used to introduce all the ascetics because of their life, as their life remains silent. Monks are silent at all the time. They are not getting anger. They are not cultivating the craving. They are practicing loving kindness, compassionate, altruistic joys and equanimity at all the time. So, having considered this nature of silence in their life, they are known as the Muni. In English, silent sages. As the normal lay people, as the ordinary people, they do not speak loudly. They do not practice some other things that the lay people practice in their daily life. They are silent from all those things. They withdraw their life from the ordinary things and remains silent. Because of that, they are known as silent sages. As they are silent sages, they are called Muni. Today, the discussion about the silent sages, the discourse on the silent sages by the Lord Buddha in Sanyutta Nikaya is called Muni Sutta. It brings the factors in order to enlighten our brothers and sisters about the nature of the monks, how they experience their spiritual life, how they lead their life, how they live, how they perform the activities in their life. Therefore, when we examine these things, you can understand the monk's life in the three sense as I guide you to understand in these three senses. These three senses are not in the discourse, but when we examine the factors according to these three themes, you can understand the life of a monk, life of a sage, life of an ascetic, life of a mendicant. So the three themes or three senses are, the first one is the behavioral changes. Behavioral changes. Secondly, we see positive thinking. Last one is attitudinal changes. Behavioral changes, positive thinking, and also lastly we see attitudinal changes. So these three types of themes I have selected because of guiding you, in order to guide you to understand this discourse in a better way, to recognize who is a Muni or who is a monk. So all these three themes or the senses, brothers and sisters in Dhamma, they let us know how the Buddhist teachings have settled in the minds of the monks, how the Buddhist teachings have settled in the minds of the monks. So, because of the settlement of the teachings of the Buddha in their mind, totally their life has been changed according to these three things: behavioral changes, positive thinking, and also attitudinal changes. It will happen in the society, even in you, when you understand the doctrine of the Buddha and also when the teachings of the Buddha. You know, Sabba Papa Sakaranam Kusalasa Upasampada. Sachitta Paryodapanam Etam Buddhana Sasana. Buddhana Sasana means the instructions of the Buddha. All the doctrine or the discourses in the Buddha's teachings, all are instructions by the Buddha. When these instructions settle in your mind, when they reside in your mind, you would be changed. You will change yourself, and these three teachings would change you in the way of behavior, in the way of thinking styles, and also in the way of attitudes. The discourse on silent sage shows clearly these matters according to the descriptions. Therefore, I think when we study the discourse, it would be better to understand how a life of a monk has been changed according to these three types of senses. You know, when I say the first stanza of the discourse on the silent sage, Santavato Bhayam Jatam Niketa Jayate Raju Aniketam Asantavam Etam ve Muni Dassanam. Etam ve Muni Dassanam. The first stanza, it is, the discourse brings 15 stanzas. Therefore, I would explain few stanzas today, and also I will continue the second part as well. Santavato Bhayam Jatam Niketa Jayate Raju Aniketam Asantavatam Etam ve Muni Dassanam. Santavatu Bhayam Jatam. The English meaning for that Pali term is from intimacy, from familiarity. Fear is born. Bhayam Jatan. Fear comes, or fear is born from intimacy or familiarity. Another term for intimacy or familiarity is, brothers and sisters, craving. Craving, close familiarity or close friendship. When we say you will have a problem, why does the Bhante Vineetha take the term familiarity or intimacy? Just it means close friendship, close connection, close relationships. Yes, it is, but with whom? This is the close relationship with craving, not as a friend, not with a friend who is living. This is the relationship with you and craving in the mind. So familiarity, your close connection, relationship or friendship with craving in your mind. So you have a craving. Based on this concept, based on the close relationship with craving, everything you decide. In order to associate a friend or in order to build the other social relationships in your life with a friend, with wife, with children, with parents, and all the other members in the society. All the relationship you maintain based on the close relationship in your mind. So in the craving, the craving in your mind is known as the close relationship or intimacy or the familiarity. Because of this craving, because of the relationship with craving in your mind, the fear is born. In this world, the fear is born because of that. Niketa jayate rajo. Niketa jayate rajo. Niketa is the household life. Jayate means born. Rajo means dust. Rajo means dust. The dust you can understand in the sense of household life. All the craving, all the defilements are born because of the household life. Because of the household life, all the defilements are born. Hence, you need to understand how does the dust or the craving, this connection, defilements come into your mind. How does this defilement come into mind? Because of the household life. You know, you have the five faculties. The five faculties are brothers and sisters in Dhamma. Your eye, your ear, your nose, your tongue, and the body. Because of these physical faculties, some say five aggregates. Because of that, because of the eye, you see the forms, images. Then your physical faculty connects something external, something visible, then in your mind a familiarity arises, a close connection you build with that vision. When you get exposed more and more to that vision, you attach to that and craving arises in your mind to that visible thing or that vision. Then, because of the craving, a close relationship in your mind at all the time arises and you build. Because of that, again and again, brothers and sisters, maybe the dust of the defilements arises in your mind. You think, for an example, through your eye, you see a beautiful woman, or beautiful woman, or a handsome man, from the side of women. If you are woman, you look at a handsome man. If you are man, you see a beautiful woman. What happened? Your physical faculty is the eye, the vision is the beautiful woman, be it a handsome man. Then a favor, a desire arises in your mind. when the desire arises in your mind, you need to see that vision again and again. Then the craving gradually arises in your mind. That craving is called the close relationship between your physical faculty and the mind. Your physical faculty in the mind. When this relationship is going on step by step at all the time in your mind, using the other faculties as well. Eye, then the ear, you see the good sounds, you listen to the sounds, and you smell the and also through your nose, and you taste through your tongue, and also you feel your body. In this way, a close relationship is there. Dust of the defilements arises in your mind because of the five faculties, five aggregates, five physical organs, five physical organs. In this way, your mind can be changed because of craving into negative direction. So because of the craving or familiarity, the fear is born. Then based on the five physical faculties, dust of the defilements arise. Dust of the defilements arises. This is the normal behavior or ordinary behavior. This is the thing what happens in the minds of the ordinary people or Pruthajana people. When it comes to a sage, a monk, as the Buddha said, they do not associate such kind of familiarity in the mind through five faculties. They do not want to attach their mind with the vision like beautiful girl or some other things that supposed to arise dust of defilements. In this way, their mind is free from the fear because the craving is not cultivated by them in their mind. As the craving is not cultivated in their mind, they do not want to have fear. So fear is not born. And also, then, based on the five organs, five faculties, the dust of the defilements do not arise. It does not arise because they do not attach to the objectives of the five faculties. Then their mind is different from an ordinary person. So, as they are lack of this association, they are near to attain the Nibbana. This is the state the Buddha seeks. Such kind of the ascetics who practice the leaving of the attachments with dust of defilements and also the craving. So they are known as brothers and sisters. Etam ve Muni dasanam. That is the vision of the sage. They need to be free from household life because household life supports to arise the dust of defilements, and also in household life intimacy or familiarity with craving is there, because of that the fear is born. But the monks are free from the intimacy and this dust of defilements, so because of that they are indeed sages. That is the vision of the sages. When we come to this meaning, we have to attain. So you see how physically they tame themselves. They behave, they change their behavior not to associate the things through the five faculties to arise the dust of defilements and the fear. They change their behavior. They do not want to behave as a layperson, they want to behave as an ascetic. That's why. So behavioral changes can be seen. And also, this is the vision, how they think. If I was in the house, at homes, household life is a ground for the arising of defilements and also fear. So I don't need to cultivate it more and more. So they think in that way and they positively think becoming a sage, following the sage. The vision of the sage is to be free from that fear and dust. So I need, it is the better way. They think in that way positively, attitudinal changes, then lastly they take the action through the positive things, they change the attitude to live as a layman and say goodbye the day life and become a sage, then through behavioral changes, through positive thinking, and they take the attitudes in that way and they change their life. That is the vision of the monks or the Muni according to this stanza. Therefore, the second stanza, we can attain the meaning. Yo jatam uchijja na ropeya jayantam assa nanu pavecchaya tam ahu ekam muninam charantam adukkahi so santipadam mahesi. The secondly, the Buddha says, whoever has uprooted the rising wood neither plant what can grow nor water it. He is said to be one living alone as a sage, the great seer who has seen the state of peace. When we see this one, brothers and sisters, in the life, in a life of a monk, monk is a person, a Muni is a person who cuts down what has grown up. What has grown up as craving in their life, they cut down. They cut down. They do not want to let the things grow up again and again, more and more. They cut down. They don't want to plant again and again. They don't want to plant the tree of the craving again and again. So supplies no means for growth. They don't want to provide even the seeds of the craving for growth, as they don't want to provide the seed for the growth, and they don't want to plant the tree or the seed again and again, the craving, and also as they cut down what has grown up as craving. They call that sage who fares alone. They live alone. As they live alone, also they are known as the great seeker. They are known as the great seeker. Why they are known as great seeker? Why are they known as great seeker? They see if they let grow up, if they let them grow up, if they provide the seeds of the craving, that means if they plant the seed again for a new defilement, and also they do not supply anything to grow up. You know, when you plant a seed or plant, you have to take care of that. You need to supply water. They do not supply water or the materials or the mental emotions, feelings, or whatever things in their mind to grow up the craving or to seed new defilements, and also they do not let themselves to perform those things, and also they don't want to grow up the craving in their mind. They don't want to plant the new defilements. They don't want to supply or support to grow up what has existed in their mind as craving. On the other hand, they don't want to process the same thing in others' minds, also. In this way, they cut down what has grown up as craving in their mind. They don't plant again, and also they don't provide, they emotionally don't support. By practice, they don't support to grow whatever in their mind as craving. They do not water. Then why do they do? They want to eradicate, they want to uproot everything with regard to growing up of craving. With regard to growing up of craving, they need to uproot everything. They need to exterminate the things related to craving in their mind. So, why do they do? They need to make their mind free from the defilements, from the craving, from the desire, from the dust of defilements, from the sensual desire, from the sexual pressure, from the jealousy, from hatred, everything. They need to uproot. That means they need to clean their mind. They need to make their minds free from those defilements. So that means they seek the peace for their mind. As they are finding the peace, they becomes the great seeker for the peace. That's why their minds have been the places of peace. So, as their minds become the places of the peace, as they seek the great peace in their mind, as they clean, as great seekers, their mind, they are called Muni, brothers and sisters in them. They are called Muni because they silently clean their mind. They silently clean their mind, seek in the state of peace in the mind. In this way, brothers and sisters in Dhamma, when we think of the life of a monk, this is the process in their life, throughout their life. They totally, at all the moment, day and night, at every time, at every moment, they practice the same thing. So, they are great seekers of the peace. With that meaning, they are called Muni. That is their behavior. That's their behavior. They behave in order to uproot the arising matter of the craving and also not to plant anything with regard to craving and also not to not to put any seed in the mind to grow up the craving. So they behave in order to perform this. They think if they want to find the peace, they have to follow this process. They think positively in that way and they change their attitudes, what they believed early, and they change their life. Changing their life and saying goodbye to lay life and come to temple or whatever sacred places and become a sage is a great chance for them to cultivate the life of peace. Therefore, they change their life as a monk. They change their attitudes and lead the life. The third verse I see, Sankhaya Vattuni Pamaya Bijam Sineham Assa Nanuppavich Save Muni Jatikanta Dasi Takkam Pahaya Naupeti Sankam. The meaning of that stanza is, monk is a person who has surveyed the grounds and lost the seeds and supplied no means for further growth, is sage, seen to the end of birth and death, logic abandoned and beyond reckoning. So, in this way they think and they understand the ground for the arising of the craving and they clean the ground, they destroy the seeds of craving, they don't want to supply anything that supports the craving and the growth of craving further. They don't want to support to grow the craving further in the future. Because of that reason, they are seen as sages. Their purpose is very clear, to end up the birth. They need to end up the birth. They need to end the birth and stop the birth. Not only the birth, brothers and sisters in Dhamma, the death as well. They need to stop the death. They need to end the birth and death both. That is something beyond logic. Someone can say, logically prove. Someone can argue how they can do that one. That is something beyond the logic. We need to understand, and that is because of self-realization. You need to understand that through self-realization, not based on the debate or something present in the logic. Logically, matters cannot make you understand, but you need to go beyond that and have to understand it. You need to have self-understand. That is what the things, what the monks, what the ascetics, what the mendicants or the sages do to end the birth and death, and not to arise the craving, lust, desire, sensual pleasure, sexual pleasure, hatred, jealousy, pride. They do not let them to arise. They clean the ground, that means the mind. They destroy the seeds, uprooted the roots, and also they don't supply anything for the further growth, because of their purpose is clear, to end the birth and death. As they do something to end the life, getting birth and death. This cannot be proved through logic or logical arguments. This is something beyond that, what they do. And you need to understand through self-realization. So, in this way, what the monks practice at all the time, we have to think of that and understand in that way. Totally, their behavior is based on to uproot craving, to exterminate the roots of craving from the minds, and also they positively think the way of uprooting, and they change their life. They take the actions not positively thinking, or not only positively thinking, they change their attitudes. In a lay life, they cannot do that, and they need to attain a holy life, become a Muni. After becoming a Muni or Bhikkhu or monk, they can perform this process, and the great seekers of the peace, they can attain the state of peace. In this way, brothers and sisters in Dhamma, we can see behavioral changes of the monks because of the purpose, because of the goal that they need to attain or reach. And also positive thinking we can see, and also the attitudinal changes also can be seen. A monk is a monk or person in the society who is different from the behavior, who is different from the thinking style, who is different from attitudes that they practice in their life. They are different from lay people in this way because of their goal. So the fourth stanza is also very important. Uh, Fourthly, it says, truly have been known all resting places. They know all the resting places with no desires at all for any there. They know the places for rest, true places for rest, that is Nibbana. And also that place will not be full of desires at all the time for any reason. And also that sage indeed, free from craving greed, a bhikkhu, a monk, can be free from the greed, struggles, and also other difficulties. Monkhood is a place to rest. Truly, a life of a monk, becoming a monk, is a place for resting to attain Nibbana. And also monkhood is with no desires at all the time for any reason. That is why indeed the sages or the hermits, monks are free from craving, greedy, sexual pleasure, sensual pleasure, and also jealousy, pride, conceit, all those things. They don't have struggles to lead a life like a layman, laywoman, and also they don't go too into further difficulties. Therefore, their life is so beautiful. It's a place to rest without desires, without craving, without defilements. In that way, monk is a person who is intelligent, who knows this reality well, and also they try to overcome all those dharmas. That means all those defilements arises in the mind, and also they don't want to abandon again and again all those defilements in their mind. They need to make their mind totally free from craving and end up the craving, eradicate the craving, and also they need to truly proclaim as a sage who is free from the craving, from the dust of defilements. In this sense, the purpose, their thinking styles, or their attitude and their behavior is so clear. They need to proclaim as a sage. They are intelligent, more intelligent. They know everything, the reality in this world. Because of the craving, everything arises, and they need to overcome those problems. They don't want to let their mind to be impure, and also they don't want to abandon again and again the craving. They need to be free from all those things, and they need to end up the birth and death. Because of that, they need to proclaim themselves as wise sage. So I think in this way you can examine the life of a monk and the attitudes, their behavioral changes of behaviors, thinking styles, and also how they practice their attitudes into a good way. So these are the things that we can understand about a life of a monk. And the Buddha has enlightened us in that way. So I think it's enough for today. The rest of the discourse, the next 10 stanzas, we'll try to do our best as a part 2 in the future. So as the discourse consists of the 15 stanzas, and as I need to approach you with the introduction to the discourse and the term Muni, today I did this Dhamma talk or discussion as the part 1 of the Muni Sutta. Then secondly, as I promised to Brother Leslie, I will do the rest of the stanzas as the part 2 of Muni Sutta. So thank you so much, brothers and sisters in Dhamma. If any questions is raised here, I would be very happy to answer for you.
Thank you, Bhante. I don't see any questions from the audience, but I just have one question: is, do yogis fall the same category as mendicants and ascetics and sages and monks? Do you
Yes.
consider yogis as well?
I consider all the English terms are used to introduce the same person. Uh, you know the Buddha, in every language we have synonyms. We have synonyms. Even though we have synonyms, we bring those synonyms into usage with different meanings. Sometimes with different meanings. Muni, the term Muni is like that. You think Muni is used as they practice to uproot or exterminate their roots of craving in their mind in order to make their mind free from craving. That means they are trying to attain the state of peace. Because of that, they are called Muni. It is a main good characteristic of a monk in a life of a monk. So the term monk, we normally use the Pali term bhikkhu. We need to attain the meaning with the Pali terms actually. The Muni is a term from Pali term. Bhikkhu. Bhikkhu is chinna bhinna pata dharoti iti bhikkhu. Chinna bhinna pata dharoti iti bhikkhu. The person who wears broken dresses, broken and cut dresses. You see our robe is broken. That means this is a piece of cloth made by collecting the broken dresses, and also to arrange this properly you need to cut. With that meaning we call as such kind of a dress monks wear. They are known as chinna bhinna patadaroti iti bhikkhu. The term meaning of the term bhikkhu is like that. Secondly, also it has another meaning as well. Bhikkati iti bhikkhu. We call them bhikkhu in two meanings. On the other hand, bhikkati iti bhikkhu. What's the meaning of bhikkati iti bhikkhu? They go for alms to house, from village to village with a bowl. So we call Pindapata. We call Pindapata. They take a bowl and go for alms house to house. They travel. Having traveled, having gone from house to house, they collect their food and they partake their food and live. They lead. They protect their life. They save life. They save their life. With that meaning, as they go from house to house and collect the food with a bowl, Bhikkati the bhikkhu, they become bhikkhu. Like that, the term Muni also used to introduce the monks, bhikkhus, ascetics, as they want to truly eradicate the roots of the craving from their mind and attain the state of peace. So, with that meaning, we use the term sage, uh, term Muni, or silent sage. Silent hermitage also can be taken because they live in a hermitage. In that way, hermit, in a monastery, in a jungle, something like that. In the same way, with different meaning related to the characteristics of the life of a monk. The term monk, the term ascetics, the term mendicant, all those synonyms can be used. I think your question is clear now.
Thank you, Bhante. So, just as a further extension to my question, so it just doesn't apply to Buddhist monks or Hindu yogis or for that matter. So even Catholic priests, because they also practice silence and they also practice avoidance from sexual misconduct and things like that. So they can also be called a Muni, right?
Actually, good question. I was waiting for such a question for a long time. This concept, Bhikkhu and the Muni, is coming from ancient India. Ancient India. So, in ancient India, the struggles of the priest or those who live the lay life or household life, their purpose is to seek or to find the true happiness or freedom from the craving. So that the ways they practice can be different from the Buddha's way. So Buddha is the first person who introduced the correct path. But after that, many followed his path and attained the Nibbana and practiced the correct path as someone has founded. The someone means the Buddha. So before the Buddha also the same struggles were there. Everyone who left the house and became a sage or Muni or priest, their purpose was to attain the state of peace, freedom of craving. And by the way, they have differences. They, because of the way they follow, but their purpose is to attain the freedom. As they practice the wrong way, that is what the Buddha revealed and found. So, struggles came from the history. Because of the way they took, they followed, having left actually everything, the common character of every sages in India representing Hinduism or any other, they left the household life. They left the household life. They got ordained. Then Their purpose is same. They need to be free from the craving and suffering. But there can be differences how they follow. Buddha is the first person who found the correct path. Then they followed his way. Because of the purpose, we use the term. When we come to Christianity and other religions, Christianity is not from the ancient India or Sri Lanka, whoever, wherever Buddhism arose. It's come from the Western side. Sometimes some Christian priests practice, even though they come to the church, they practice lay life with the wife and children. Some do not practice. There are some debate about that. In that case, my clarification is, sometimes we use the monk, mendicant, ascetics, all those English terms, we borrow from their religion because we go to the society as a religion. When people look at us, who are the religious leaders? When we go to Western, they look at who are the religious leaders of Buddhism as religion. Then they need to give some clarification. These are the characters. When we introduce the characters, they need to understand with familiarity with their existing religions. That is what, instead of saying the bhikkhu or muni, we said this is a monk. Actually, monk is a term for Christian fathers. Then this is a priest. When we say the priest, they understand the meaning in that way. Because of the cultural and continent differences and the language differences, we had to absorb their meaning and we have to borrow their words. So, what the Christian used to introduce their religious leaders, the terms priest and monks, we borrowed and we used to introduce the monks to the Western world because we use in English. In English, we don't have the terms for Buddhism. So we need to we need to use their words to introduce. The temple is also a term for the church, monastery as well. So because of that one, we need to, when we go to the Western world, we had to follow those things. But all the religious leaders, some say are same, but Buddhism we don't follow as a religion. We follow as a way of life of attainment of happiness. This is not a religion. So we others expect something through the religion. Buddhists do not expect anything from practice of the teachings. They only thing they need to be free, not to be full. So, not to be full means they don't need to go to heaven or they don't want to enjoy the life with the divine beings or whatsoever, whoever people. That means they need to, some religions teach their followers to abandon something more than what they have at this life. So that is called to be full. But Buddhist needs to be free. That means free from everything, not to have something. But that is what, as we run as a religion, we need to compare and share. Even in Sri Lanka also, for the Christian priest, they don't have some terms in Sinhala, but they use what Buddhist monks use to introduce themselves to the society. Then the society they understand they are priests or just similar. They represent some kind of priesthood like our monks. In that way, with those different cultures and also language problems, we use all those things.
Thank you, Bhante. I think you've clarified the explanation for the word Muni. So I think I'll be happy to just call you Bhante, and I think there'll be no confusion in the future. We won't,
Yeah, of course.
because nowadays people call themselves, I mean, the religious people call themselves venerable and reverend and all kinds of terms, So I guess we
In
just
that case, also, yeah, the reverend is the term to introduce Christian brothers, as you said earlier as well. So
yeah,
you raised that problem last week also when you were talking to me. And
yeah.
also the venerable is the most suitable term because we venerate, we consider as sacred. You know the term Thera, Bhante, Vineetha, Thera. Thera is the Pali term. We use the term Thera to introduce Buddhist monks because when someone say Venerable P. Vineetha, sometimes cannot understand whether he is a Hindu priest or Buddhist priest. But to differentiate from others, we use the term Thera. Thera is another term to use Muni or Bhikkhu or the follower or the male ordained person of Buddhism. So in that way, Thera is our identity. So Bhante is also another term. Bhante, when you say Reverend P. Vineetha, we are in a difficulty to understand who is this person. Hindu priest, Christian priest, or Buddhist. But when you say Reverend P. Vineetha Thero, because of the term Thero, we can understand he's a Buddhist monk. But better to say Venerable P. Vineetha Thero, then it is so venerated and clear meaning. But instead of that, instead of venerable, if you can say Bhante P. Vineetha Thero, it is the most important and the very best way of Buddhism. I think that is enough for that.
Okay, Bhante, yes. We've taken up almost more than an hour now, 1 hour, 20 minutes. We've come to at the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing. And as Bhante says, this is actually quite a long sutta. I didn't realize there were 15 verses that need to be understood to understand the sutta in full. So we will probably have to do this in another part two and part three, maybe even if we have time permits. We will schedule this in the month of March. Hopefully, Bante, you'll be available then to finish the sutta for us. And I also mentioned in passing in one of the comments, if you noticed earlier, the scrolling, that if you have any subject matter that you would like the Dhammadana series to discuss, please do drop us a line here at the Facebook page. You can drop it at our messenger, Facebook messenger as well, and we will look at it and see whether we can comply and help you understand certain areas that you find difficult to understand as far as Buddhism is concerned. Of course, Bhante Vinita is always there to help us. We'll find the best monks to be able to source for you and hopefully solve your problems. This evening, we would like to thank Bhante for taking time off. And this is, as I mentioned earlier, he's actually substituting for Bhante Piratna, who is very busy with his assignments back in Scotland, in the university in Scotland. So before we end, I would like to invite Bhante to proceed with the Anumodana to the monks as well as to the dearly departed beings.
uh, when we share the meals, let let me remind that today main sponsor, Madam Irene Pereira, who passed away 6 years ago, who is the first female president of Buddhist Mahavihara Management Committee, Sasana Abhivruddhi Vardhana Society, and may she and her members who departed us receive these merits and may they be free from suffering, may they be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana, and also may all the devotees who supported Buddhist Mahavihara and Buddhism in Malaysia and around the world receive these merits. May all the beings who departed be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana, especially by the power of these merits. May all the brothers and sisters at Buddhist Mahavihara Management Committee, Brother Leslie and also Brother Sirisena, and the other people, devotees, supporters, friends receive these merits. May all of you be well and happy at all the time. May all of you be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana, and also our Chief Reverend Datuke Sri Dhammaratana Nayaka Mahathera, and may he receive these merits, including the other monks. May all the monks be well and happy. May they be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana, especially our late Chief K.C. Dhammananda Nayakathera, late Bhante Punyaji, and other reverend who passed away at Buddhist Mahavihara. May they receive these merits. May they also be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the deities who protect and guard the Buddhism followers, human world, especially Buddhist Mahavihara, receive these merits. May they be well and happy in their heavenly life. May they be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the beings be well and happy. May all the beings be able to attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the beings be free from COVID-19. Thank you so much. Let me recite the stanzas to share the merits. Akasatta cha bhummatta devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu loka sasanam. Akasatta cha bhummatta devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahindika punyantang anumoditva chiran rakkantu mam paranti. Abhivadana selissa niccang undapachayino chattaro dhamma vandante ayuvanno sukham balang ayurarogya sampatte sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatte iminate saminyatu. Sukhi Hotu, good night.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you for taking time off to be with us this evening. And on behalf of the Committee of Management and also the monks of the Buddhist Mahavihara, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Bhante and as well as our sponsors this evening. We have a few sponsors as well, in addition to the family of Mrs. Irene Pereira. We'd also like to inform that one of our senior members just passed away yesterday. His name is Mr. K. Don Buddhadasa, and we'd also like to transfer the marriage to him as well.
Sorry to hear his demise, and I pray for him, and may our late uncle Buddhadas attain supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Yes, Bhante. So he died peacefully yesterday. So,
Yeah, I know him very.
so with that, let me take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you, and have a pleasant evening. Sadhu.